Hello, with the school holidays approaching, and right now it's the summer holidays, so it's a long one, I wanted to give some useful tips and advice on how to manage changes in child contact when you have to deal with an abusive ex or just a difficult ex. I don't have all the answers, and everyone's personal situation is different, but I have some tips that you may or may not find useful. I understand this can be a very difficult and stressful time for some of you. Trust me, I've been there, and I hope you can take from this what you need and just leave the rest. Welcome to The Secrets in the Powder Room, where we share stories and open up conversations about all the secrets women are forced to keep out of fear and shame. I'm Louise Bryant, professional certified coach, intuitive eating counsellor and trauma-informed domestic abuse specialist and survivor. I'm here to support you on your healing journey and help you feel like you're not alone. This is not to be a replacement of your own professional, medical or legal advice. This podcast contains adult language and content. Listener discretion is advised. Hello, so let me tell you a funny, not funny story. So I'm blessed enough now to not have to deal with child contact anymore as my son's grown up. But when I was having to send my son to his father's house for the holidays, this is one thing that happened. It's very funny. So he went there for 2 weeks. I packed, it was definitely 14, I'd say 16. I put shorts, t-shirts, pants, socks and rolled them all up into outfits. So he had well over what he needed for the 2 weeks. He also had pyjamas, he had jackets, he had football kit, he had pyjamas, he had swimming costume, like swimming shorts. He had all of his toothbrush, all of his toiletries. Now, bearing in mind, he went to his dad's every other weekend anyway, so he had all of the stuff there. And my ex's nan was very good at washing and ironing his clothes anyway, so I didn't really need to put all of that in there. And then sent him off to his dad with his suitcase, and I got a text message saying, he had trainers in there and sandals, and I got a message saying, no football boots, you take the effing piss, you effing cunt. So just a little story there to give you some context of just an example of some of the things that I was dealing with back then. Like I said, thank goodness I don't have to deal with that now. But, you know, it's just one of them things that you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. There'll always be something. But as long as you're prepared, and as long as you're prepared in your head to, you know, take some things that they might say to you with a pinch of salt and know it's a them issue and not a you issue. Okay, so before we dive into the specifics, let's briefly touch on the dynamics and tactics used by an abusive ex-partner. So these individuals often seek to maintain control over their victims and may use child contact as a means of exerting their power. So it's crucial to remember that the well-being and safety of you and your children should always be top priority. So if you do have a legal court order in place, then I would make sure that you're sticking to it, just so then there's no comeback on you. But also make sure you're aware of what the consequences are should they not stick to the court order, and make sure that you follow up with that should you need to. Dealing with an abusive ex during contact can be emotionally and mentally challenging, so reaching out to a professional, such as a coach, a therapist, counsellor, support groups, who can provide guidance tailored to your unique situation. We can help you process your feelings, provide important legal information and offer coping strategies specific to your own needs in this difficult time. If you're worried about your ex-partner taking your children out of the country and not returning them, you could apply to the courts and try and get an application so that your ex is prohibited from taking your child out of the country. But I understand this could be quite a challenging situation. So again, make sure that you're seeking the relevant support for that. Another thing I would suggest is to document everything. So maintaining a record of all interactions and incidents related to child contact, note down any abusive behaviour, threats of violence and court orders. This documentation can serve as evidence should you need it in a legal intervention in the future. Make sure you're establishing boundaries, good boundaries. Set clear and firm boundaries with your ex-partner regarding communication and contact during the school holidays. Consider using a communications platform specially designed for co-parenting that allows for documented and time-stamped messages. This can help deter abusive behaviour and provide any evidence if it's at all necessary. Try to communicate in a neutral manner. So I always thought about, and even to this day, if I have to have any contact with my son's dad, I always think of him like a teacher that I don't particularly like in my son's secondary school, and that we both have our son's best interest at heart, but we just don't get along. And trying to keep it in a real neutral and very professional manner. So when communicating with an ex-partner, keep all exchanges focused on the children and their well-being, and avoid engaging in personal or emotional charged conversations. Stick to the facts, be conscious and maintain a neutral tone should you be actually speaking with them. This can help minimise any potential manipulation or conflict. So another thing I would say is establishing safety measures. So if your ex-partner has a history of abusive behaviour, consider implementing safety measures during child contact. Plan exchanges in public places. I would always use the local train station. He didn't drive, so he would get the train to my local train station and I would hand my son over, or someone else would hand my son over. I'd park up the road and let him walk down so I can see him going to his dad. There was cameras there. It was always busy because it was normally kind of around rush hour. And I would, make sure there's, witnesses to any kind of behaviour, security cameras. It might be that you have somewhere else in mind that you can do this. But I'd also recommend that you perhaps ask someone to help with this and do the handovers for you if they're used to maybe picking the children up from school normally, so you don't normally have any contact. There's nearly 8 billion people in the world. There might be somebody that you can ask. I know that quite often we find it asked to ask for help, but there might be someone, so it's worth asking. And sometimes as well, we don't want to share with people what we've been going through with an ex-partner, but it's crucial for your safety, and so the children don't witness anything. It just could be a thing that you have to do in order to keep you all safe. Or it might just be that you have a friend or family member with you, so if anything happens, you've got a witness to what happened. Or request supervision visits if it aligns with your situation. Always prioritise your safety, remember, and that of your children. There is contact centres that might allow you, if you get in touch with your local contact centres and see whether they will help you with doing drop-offs and pick-ups. That could be an option. Another thing I would suggest is educating your children. So depending on their age, obviously, and understanding, it can be helpful to educate your child about healthy relationships, boundaries, and what to do if they feel unsafe. Reassure them that they can trust you and confide in you about any concerns they have, and encourage open communication with them and let them know that they're not alone and that you're there for them. They can talk to you about anything. Also, sometimes try and keep your emotions neutral around your children for how you feel, because what can often happen if we get upset in front of our children because of stuff that's happened, our children can then want to protect us and not tell us to avoid upsetting us. So I think it's always important to try and keep your emotions as best you can. I mean, it's good to show children that it's okay to have feelings and emotions, but always know that mummy will always listen to you, and just tell me the truth. If there's anything that's concerning you or upsetting you, mummy's always here to listen, or daddy's always here to listen, whatever your situation is. So surviving and navigating child contact with an abusive ex-partner during the school holidays can be incredibly challenging. So remember that you're not alone in this journey. Seeking support, educate yourself, know your legal rights, and prioritise your safety and well-being of your children. It is possible to create a safe and nurturing environment, even when you have to deal with a very difficult ex-partner. Thank you for listening to this episode of Secrets in the Powder Room. Remember, I offer support and guidance to survivors, so feel free to reach out to me for a one-to-one session, or if you'd like support from our Rose Tree Project group drop-in sessions, reach out to me via Instagram or email. And don't forget to leave a review and subscribe so you don't miss an episode. Until next time, take care and stay strong.